Hi guys, welcome to podcast number 9. Alright, we are definitely making some beautiful progress with this. Alright, so today's podcast is going to be as concentrated as I can on related around work / your job and then energy as well. Alright, because everybody knows if you've got more energy, you're more productive, you feel like you want to go and do more, you've actually got the get up and go. You know, that's what energy is, isn't it? It's the substance that makes things go. It gives life. It's go juice, whatever you want to call it. And I've noticed that my personal circumstance because right now at this very second I'm working part-time, going back into work because I've had some time out for stress and basically, I've had loads of stuff going on in my life, blah blah blah. Needed some time out because work was making a lot of changes and I had a lot of stuff going on personally as well, so I basically just needed time away from that. After a couple of weeks of being out of work, I was going to go back in and start to do my job. And then I broke my wrist, so I've had a couple of weeks off for that as well. I mean, just so that, that's what I can do with this wrist, and that's what I can do with there. So we're still pretty limited. I can do that and that. So we're still pretty limited, but we're getting there. That's what we're focusing on. I'm choosing to focus on how much progress I've made. So if you're in a place where you genuinely hate your job, alright, I've been there for a long time. So it's a weird thing because when you hate your job, you genuinely, you wake up in the morning and you have that anxiety, or you wake up in the morning and that cloud of depression's over the top of you and you just do not want to go in. You think of everything, you take as many sick days as you can, you try and worm your way out of doing your tasks while you're at work, and just generally you don't enjoy being there. I go outside for a ride. Now, the first thing that I would implore you to do is to use your holiday days, alright? I know it sounds like a weird one, but I know people that go to the job that they don't like and they're resilient to taking holiday days because it's almost like this thing of you can't take a holiday unless you have something to take a holiday day for, whereas I just take holiday days because I want to make sure that I'm not at work for weeks and weeks and weeks without having, even like a long weekend for myself. So that's the first thing, put some holiday time in through the year so that, every 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks you might have a long weekend, because having that space for yourself is super important, and that's going to be something that I kind of come back to a lot in terms of starting to take time and space for yourself on a bigger sort of scale and on a grander scale and on a small sort of scale as well. The thing with being in a job that you hate is it's a weird sort of irony, because you are going to a job that's very familiar, so you know what to do, you understand it, you know the people, it's very routine, you feel like you've got structure, it's inside a comfort zone. But on the other side of that is, even though it may be inside of a comfort zone, allowing yourself to stay within that comfort zone is actually causing a lot of pain and distress and upset and anxiety, and you're burning up a lot of your energy just by allowing yourself to stay within that comfort zone, all right? So sometimes something that you need to do is you need to change something within your job, or you need to change your job itself, all right? So the first thing that would be really easily doable is just look for a different job. If you can get something which pays similar or pay less, obviously, there's multiple lifestyle factors which go into can you take a drop in wage. If you can't, then look for a different job that's like completely the opposite end of what you've got right now, because sometimes it's not that we hate the job that we're in, so sometimes it's not the fact that we hate having a job, we hate going to work. Sometimes it can just be like the people that you work with, or it can be that the specific job that you've got just doesn't agree with you. Like, say if you're someone who's naturally quite a kind, gentle, nurturing person, but then as a job you have to brutally sell stuff and shove stuff down people's necks in a sales environment, that's not going to work. If you're naturally someone who wakes up early and you have to wait until 2 o'clock in the afternoon to go to your job, and that messes your ideal sleeping pattern up, it might be that, I always try and look at something that you can change, which is going to be relatively easy to change, but give you overall quite a big impact. Like for me, I purposefully created a lifestyle where I could take a drop in wage so that then I could work 4 days a week rather than working five. And now that I've done that, it's like, right, well, I'm used to having a lower income. Now I've got to the point where it's like, right, okay, now I know it's the job, it's not the time. Because I got the hours that I wanted. I wanted to work early, so the hours are sorted. I'm in a position where I'm not surrounded by a lot of people, and I don't have to interact with a lot of people in terms of my work colleagues quite a lot. So it's not that. I reduced the amount of overall hours that I work to the minimum that I'm, financially stable. I'm not worrying about money. So I changed all the little things that I could without having to change the job. But now it's got to the point where all of those things that I can change, I have, and they've not been successful in terms of what I want as an outcome. So now I know that I need to change my day job. All right. So think about the small changes that you can make without having to change the entire thing. If you're someone who prefers that, if you're someone who can just walk into another job and say fuck you, and be open to all the new things, then I would implore you to, get a new job. Because if you are genuinely someone who really dislikes spending time at your work, the amount of energy that is required to have to go and do that despite the way that you feel about it is just unreal. All right, because I've experienced this recently with going back to work after having some time out. Having time out has really given me a perspective of, so this is what I enjoy spending my days doing, waking up and going about the things that I want to do. And then when I have to then go and do something which is the exact opposite of that, at the end of a day, I'm so drained. I'm so tired. I don't want to socialise. I really dislike the idea of having to go out my house. I want to comfort myself through eating bad food. And I don't want to read. I'm not as creative. And that's not me. Like, having a couple of weeks out of work, it's really weird how it's happened at this exact moment in time where I've started to be a lot more creative. But it was like the amount of creative energy that I had went like 2, 3, 4, 5 times through the roof. And I haven't really done anything different apart from I'm just not spending all of my energy going to a job that I really, really dislike. Having to put yourself through that on a daily basis, it's really strange because it's like your brain and your body already know and they already expect all of the bullshit that's going to happen. So it's like you have to overcome all of that when just to get out of bed, you have to accept and agree with yourself that you are okay to go and do that. And then you actually have to go and do that and then wake up and do it again and then wake up and do it again. And then people wonder why they're so fucking exhausted by the time they get to the weekend and they don't want to do this and they haven't got energy to put into that. And they like, weirdly enough, I thought I was an introvert because of how much energy my job's been sapping from me. I was like, well, I must be an introvert. I don't want to go out. I want to spend time by myself. I'm not really that creative. And then I took time out of my job and I was like, yo, I want to see my friends. I want to go and meet people. I like making conversations with random people. Like, I actually want to go and do stuff. I want to create. I want to make podcasts. I want to do social. And then I had a bit of time to reflect on that. And it was like, yo, okay. And then I started piecing all this together. And now this is why I'm sharing it, because not everybody shares my perspective and they're not in a position where they can take time out of work and stuff like that. So this is, as always, I'm just using my perspective and my insight to try and help other people change theirs, really. Because if you can change your perspective and you can see where you might be going a bit better just by spending your time over here rather than over there, then we're all rising tides, all right? So the next thing that I want to touch on is creating space, okay? Now, there's 2 ways for me that you can sort of create space. The one is the macro, and the second is the micro. So macro, big stuff. What can you do to create space? So this is things like taking holidays, taking a week out, taking a couple of weeks out, leaving your job for 6 months and going traveling. Stuff like this, which is going to give you a big picture perspective. It's going to give you a lot of time where you can choose to spend your energy on what you want. I would personally say spend your energy and time with yourself. If you're going into something like that with the idea of you're wanting to figure out where you want to spend your time, then you have to take your time into your own hands. Like, for me, I think about what do I want to do? If I had no job, if I had, I'd sold a business for 500 million and I could just not do anything work-wise ever again, what would my perfect day be? Write that down and then do that for a week. And after 3 days, you might get bored. And that's good because you've tried something. You are aware enough to know that something's not worked or you're not enjoying it, and then you can change it and try something else. So it might be you want to wake up and do something physical. I'm that type of person. I wake up in the morning. So my routine is I wake up, my journal's at the side of the bed. I wake up and I journal. Normally from there, I'll either read or I'll do some kind of podcast or TikTok, because as soon as I start and journal, I have some ideas and I write the ideas down and then I want to get them out while they're fresh. My creative energy is really good in the morning. So I'll do something like that, or I'll learn, I'll feed or I'll give. After I've done that, I'll normally tidy around and clean up, so I feel like, I've done that for the day, all my chores that I like to do to make sure my lifestyle is nice and clean is done. Then I'll go for a walk, I'll go to the gym, I'll go to swimming, I'll do something active, I'll have a stretch, I'll do some mobility work. And then I've kind of done all of the maintenance stuff. I've added to social, I've learnt something for the day, I've journaled for the AM, I've done something physical, so I'm moving, and that helps like my brain and my mental health and my physical health as well. And then what I'll normally do is I'll come back, I'll do some editing, so I'll upload the videos, I'll sort YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn out and all that type of stuff, which if you don't know, you should go and follow me on all that stuff. And then once I've done that, then I'll go and probably do some kind of socializing, go chill out with people, go see what's up. And at night time, I'll meditate, read, journal again, and then go to sleep. And that for me is like, I really enjoy doing that. I get all of my good juices, whatever you want to, my happiness meter is off the chart with that. And then having a couple of hours of work in between that for a job fits in, because I've done my stuff in the AM. I've got to do my stuff in the PM. I've got a couple of hours during the day where I can go and spend that earning money through a normal job. But the way that I found out that that's what I enjoyed doing was I had a period of time where I took myself out of work for a few weeks and I just kind of tried this, and then I tried it in that way, and then I tried, okay, well, if we get up and exercise straight away, or if we get up and read straight away, or if we get up and make sort of videos straight away, or if we get up and we go and see someone straight away. And it was like, right, what affects my energy in a good way? What can I control? What do I feel good when I've done this for a couple of days? I've tried that once and I had a bit of a bad day, so I'm not going to do that. Try reading at night. Okay, well, this type of book makes my brain active and thoughtful, which is not good for going to sleep on, but this type of book is a bit more calming and it's a little bit more of a story, so it's like holding my attention, so then I'm focused, so then I can sleep. And then, if I try journaling after I've read, that'll let my brain have its ideas. I can get all my ideas out while I'm journaling. So that's like emptied my brain of all of its stuff that's going on. And then if I meditate for 10 minutes, it pulls me even further into, the relaxation. And then I'd get into bed and I'm out. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, let me try that for a couple of days. Oh, and then miraculously, I've got a bedtime routine, which I can put confidence and faith in that I will sleep really good if I do that. And it stops me from eating chocolate right before bed, And it's just a case of trying this and having a go with that and being aware of what your energy feels like within yourself when you do something for a couple of times. And it goes back to the job thing, if your energy feels shit after you've had a couple of days at work and you're just waiting for the weekend to come so that you can have some rest, you need to change something within or around your job, There's no two ways about it. There's only so long that you can put up with that. And that's where I believe the whole midlife crisis thing comes from, because people ignore it and ignore it and ignore it, and then 2-3 decades in, they're just like, well, fuck this, I'm fucking gonna buy this, and I'm leaving this, and I'm changing that, and it's like, yeah, I understand why you've done that, because you've been depriving yourself of the small things. So you can have that big picture, change a lot of things, go traveling, completely change your lifestyle, take 6 months out of your job, or something which I kind of was going into there a little bit was changing the macro. So, changing the micro. So what you want to do there is the things like creating a routine for yourself when you get out of bed, having one day a week where you spend all of your time with yourself, because that gives you a sort of clean slate of energy. Making sure that your before bed hygiene is so important. Like, I'm a big believer that you wake up with the same energy that you went to bed with, and you probably like grow that while you're asleep. So if you go to bed pissed off, you're probably going to wake up pissed off. But then if you know that you're going to wake up and have to go to a job that you don't like, then it's like, well, knowing that you're going to have to go and do that when you wake up is probably going to fuck your sleeping, like before sleep up as well. So that's why I think it's so important to control what you can control. So, like, genuinely taking 5 minutes for yourself in the morning and just breathing, just journaling, get all this stuff that's going on in your head out. Things like asking yourself questions: what can I be grateful for? What can I be happy for? What can I look forward to today? What am I going to challenge myself to do today? Things like that will just start to get your focus primed for the happy, for the good. What is positive? What is kind? What is nice? What do I find interesting? What do I want to learn? And I think if you can start to move your focus towards stuff like that, it gives you that space away from the negative stuff which is just coming at you. Yeah, because there's never a lack of negative stuff coming in, and I think that's why it's so easy to become a negative person, because the world and the planet is designed of negative stuff, whether it's food, media, other people's bullshit, and just them spewing out energy. There's loads of advertising. All the films and the news are all about violence and death and killing people and catastrophes, and there's all this negative stuff coming. So we have to do a good job of creating this inner place of happiness and calm and peace in order to counteract all that bullshit. But the thing is, it takes energy. You don't just miraculously become a positive, happy person who sees things on the good side of life. You have to train yourself to do that, and you have to develop resilience and thick skin and practice it, because of how much bullshit there is in the world. And then, you can start to look into it a bit deeper in, going to therapy and counselling, or trying to understand your relationship with your parents in a little bit of a way, so you can maybe see that some of the behaviours that you have aren't your behaviours, they're behaviours that have become yours because you've adopted them from your parents and other people. And then I feel like you can start to expand on that and go into that a little bit more, and I do feel like on a grand scheme, that is very helpful. Even just knowing that something was passed on to you kind of gives you the authority and the love for yourself that you're allowed to just drop it. So that's always a good one. So doing things on a macro, having time out, go and explore, go adventurizing, just take a lot of time for yourself. If you can do that, is going to be good, because that's going to allow you to get a baseline of what you enjoy and what you like. If you can't do that, and if you can do that, I would also recommend working on the micro, so the small stuff. Meditating, reading, exercising, walking, just taking 5 minutes for yourself on your dinner break, and not going straight onto your phone, not messaging your mates. Just take 5 minutes for yourself, so that you can actually just breathe and just be there for you. You don't have to always be with the external and sort this out and do that and organize. It's like just take some time for yourself in whichever way that is for you. You might think, oh well, I can't be bothered to read, and I don't want to meditate, and I'm not into this. So it's like, well, just go for a walk. Just put some of your favorite music on and go for a walk. Have a shower when you get home from work to create some separation from your work and your home. Like, one of the best things that I ever did with in terms of like getting over a really bad habit / addiction of smoking too much weed was literally that, because I was in the habit of coming home, going upstairs, getting changed, coming downstairs and rolling up. That was my habit. I changed my habit to coming in, going upstairs, having a shower, then coming downstairs, and because I'd interrupted that pattern. And for me, it was like, well, I've had a shower and I've brushed my teeth, so then I don't want to smoke because then I'm going to have to brush my teeth again. I created my habit. I created some space for myself, because then when I was in the shower, I could de-stress. I was like, okay, I've had a bit of a bad day today. And then that's where I started learning about the focus, because it was like, well, rather than just allowing that bad day to stay within my head, I'll have a shower, I'll focus on the positives and what I can be happy for and what I've learned and what I can use and what I've been able to understand about myself. And then it was like, well, I've had a shower, I kind of feel a lot better, maybe I don't need to smoke. And then, it kind of, I'd had a couple of days off and I was feeling good and my energy was better, and then, I carried on and carried on and carried on. So it all comes back to that self-awareness. It all comes back to that taking time for yourself and creating the separation from whatever is causing you the unhappiness and the discomfort. And I believe a lot of people, it is their work and their job. And it could be a family, it could be friends, it could be whatever. It could be yourself. It's just important that you understand that the most important thing that you can do when something's like going a bit fucking crazy in your life is take time and space away from it, whether it's on a big scale or whether it's on a small scale, because then what that will do is by taking that space, it will free up some energy, and then you can use that energy that you've now, freed up in your life to then put into focusing on the good, starting a new habit or getting a new hobby, so that will then create some more happiness. And then once you've sort of you're literally starting to shift your lifestyle by doing stuff like that. If you can spend less time doing things that you don't like and spend more time doing things that you do like, after like a 6-month period of kind of seeing how that goes for a couple of weeks, make some changes, see how it goes, make some changes, so you're always on a cycle of cleaning out the bad and implementing the good, and then learning from it, and then you go back and think, what can I do a little bit better? Let's change that. This is working, this isn't working, right? What can I do better, or what can I reflect on and keep the same? It all comes back to having that awareness and having that baseline and understanding yourself, and learning what works well for you and what doesn't work well for you. Because if you don't know what works and what doesn't work, and you haven't got the ability to just sit and kind of ask yourself some questions while you're journaling, or go for a walk and think about how the past week has been, then how are you ever supposed to know if what you are doing is working or not? We all do this and we do that, and you start and go to the gym, or you get a new friendship group, or you start a new job, but then we only take note of it when it's like starting to die. It's like, oh my god, I'm in such a stressful situation. I don't like any of my friends. My car's fucking broke down. I feel like shit and I look like shit. And it's like, well, yeah, you stopped going to the gym. You've not put any effort into seeing your good friends. So now all you're left with is your shitty friends who just want to go out and party all the time. You aren't taking any awareness of how your job's making you feel every day. You just go into it regardless because that's what you're supposed to do. And it's like, there's no wonder why you're unhappy, because you're allowing life to happen to you. You went to the job because you thought it was a good idea. You didn't like it after the first week, but you stayed anyway. You aren't taking any time for yourself to, you're not feeding yourself properly. You're not reading, you're not meditating, you're not walking, you're not doing anything which adds energy into your body. You're just coming home at night and smoking and eating and drinking and watching TV and having these bad relationships. And then you're staying in that cycle, because that, even though that cycle is a horrible cycle to be in, it's your cycle, and you, for some reason, and I've been here before, this is why I feel like I can talk about it, you allow that to become your comfort zone because it's what you know, it's familiar. And the fucked up things about humans is we would rather stay in a bad situation that we know than risk going and trying something new which could completely change your life. And I think the first thing is we're not aware, and it's like we don't even know that we have permission to go and do that. Like, society's done such a good job of creating this way that we feel like we have to stay here and we have to feel safe and secure and be thankful for the job that we have, even though it fucking kills your spirit and your soul. It's like, there's so many jobs out there that you can go and you can have a job every 6 months, Why do you need to keep the same job for like 50 years? Like, they all pay into a pension, you can earn the same amount of money, you might actually learn a lot of new different things if you try different jobs. It's just how you see things, yeah? Like, I don't know. I know that on the surface it seems like there's quite a lot of different things that you have to do. But really what it boils down to is taking time for yourself. Taking time for yourself at the start of the day and at the end of the day are the two most important and life-changing things that I've ever done. Like, my sleep is so much better now. I wake up feeling like more alert and more rested because I get, like I said, I journal before I go to sleep, I meditate before I go to sleep, so my brain's calm, my body's calm because I've done some kind of exercise, or I've had a walk, or I've had a productive day, so my body's done, I've been thinking all day, or I've been learning all day, so my body wants the rest. So when I go to sleep, it's resting. I wake up and I journal and I read and I'm doing things which provide me with energy on pretty much a daily basis, I'm feeding that cycle. But that only came because I started to realise that I needed some space for myself. So I think that's the most important thing that you can do. If you're struggling in any area of your life and you wanting to make a change, the easiest and the most practical thing that you can do, I swear to God, is going for a walk or meditating. Like, because it just gives you some internal space where you slow down. Like, we're all so fucking busy and in a rush. The weird thing is, it's like we're so busy we don't have time, but then we do actually have time because we sit and watch TV for hours. We have mindless, boring conversations for hours. I don't know, like fucking, have you ever done that thing where you're so fucking tired and you don't want to go in the house because it's like, you just know that when you're going to go in the house, you're going to go into that routine of like just consumption of TV or food. So you just end up sitting in the car because you need 5 minutes. Like, do that proactively, like every day. Like, why wait until everything's built up and it's really hard and horrible to start and prioritize yourself? Why not start to prioritize yourself all the time, and then you never get to a place where everything's built up? And it's because we're not taught, you know? When did you ever hear a teacher say that in school? You know, they don't. They teach you lessons and you go to college and university and get the job, and then you end up staying in the job because that's what people have told you to do. And it's like, well, no, I think, you know, civilization and society is becoming a lot more aware of that cycle and how it's a lot of, how do you say, it's been created in a way that enables organizations and businesses to run as they do. But yeah, enough of the tinfoil helmet stuff. Like, I just genuinely do feel like, you know, understand that you have got the power to change how you feel, you know? Like, whether it's changing your hours, whether it's getting a different job, whether it's having some time for yourself in your own way, you know, it might be you go rock climbing, it might be that you go dancing, it might be that cooking for you could be something where you feel very calm. You might go and, you know, you might have got a lot of brain issues going on in terms of, you know, you don't feel like you're in control of certain aspects of your life, so you might want to go and get some therapy or counselling to have a bit of a dive into that. If you feel like you are progressing, I always feel like reading a book is amazing for feeling like you're progressing. There's nothing better than getting to the end of a book and kind of giving yourself a bit of a pat. It might be listening to TED Talks to learn something, or YouTube videos, or go and join a gym so you can start and get into classes. Just do something which is for you, all right? And then if you sat there thinking, well, I don't know what to do, it's just because you haven't tried anything. You will know in your stomach that there is something which you enjoy to do. It might even just be going for a drive, you know, going for a drive or going to have a shower and putting some music on. It can be something small. It doesn't need to be something expensive or grand, or, you know, you don't have to agree to a 12-month contract at a gym. Just go for a walk in the park. Try new things. Once you try some things and you have the self-awareness and you understand that those things are giving you energy, then that's when you structure those things into your life. Like, I feel really good when I've been for a walk, but then put it into your, like, go for a walk 3 times a week. Like Monday, Friday, and Saturday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or, you know, whatever works for your lifestyle. Just go for a fucking walk a couple times a week. It's not hard, you know? It's just, you have to decide and actually put the consistent effort in. And then that's where self-discipline comes into it. Because if you don't have the self-discipline to make your bed in the morning, and you don't have the self-discipline to, you know, fucking brush your teeth twice a day and shit like that, it's like, how are you going to have the discipline to get out and go for a walk a couple times a week, or to meditate every day, you know? It all feeds into the same thing, and it's all just about being healthy and happy, you know? So that's it for today. Peace.